Joining me now, Andrew Weissmann, former lead prosecutor in Robert Mueller's special counsel's office. So, Andrew, first of all, just this morning, just before going down there to be deposed by lawyers from her office, presumably, he called Letitia James, the Attorney General, a racist. That probably isn't going to go over too well. But in any case, talk to me about this case, the significance of it. And I think, as I recall, when we talked about this previously, in a civil case, taking the Fifth does carry other implications.
Absolutely. That's really the interesting part of what may be occurring right now, which is this is a civil fraud case connected to Trump Organization finances. And it is very detailed, and it's scheduled for trial in the fall. As you noted, Andrea, the former president took the Fifth Amendment many times. And so what Letitia James has to prove her case is not just the underlying evidence, but also essentially an adverse inference when you take the Fifth Amendment in a civil case. If, as reported, Donald Trump is now testifying, what he may be doing is weakening her case, because it's a lot harder to get a judge to agree that there should be that adverse inference if he's now answering questions. And he now sees her complaint. In other words, when he did this before, he didn't have exactly what she was alleging. So he has something to shoot at when he is testifying today. Of course, there are perils, because he could say things that are quite damaging to him, either in this case or in the many other investigations or a pending criminal case. But I do think that it is really not a terrible strategy for if you were just looking at this case in isolation.
And let's turn for a moment to the special counsel, Jack Smith, here in Washington, because the Washington Post is reporting that he is now focusing on the fundraising piece in the final months of the Trump presidency for potential wire fraud charges over alleged false claims to donors, as he raised, several $100 million, did he not, after he lost the election, between then and with all of the claims that he hadn't lost to raise money. Is that what they're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, this takes me back to, I used to be the head of fraud section at the Department of Justice. This would have been our bread and butter.
You're the perfect expert on this, on all things, Andrew.
Well, at least on this thing. But thank you. This reminds me of the Steve Bannon case, where he is under indictment, and his colleagues who have already been indicted and convicted of it engaged in what seems to be a similar scheme in connection with the wall, where they raise money on false pretenses. That's your classic federal sort of wire fraud, mail fraud case. And so once we heard from the January 6th committee hearings that this was what they had uncovered, it is not at all surprising that you would have Jack Smith pulling every thread on this and seeing if he can make the case. Of course, it remains to be seen whether he can or cannot, but I'm not at all surprised that he's going down that road. It is really a classic fraud investigation for the Department of Justice, and Jack Smith is well aware of that.
Could that be easier to prove than insurrection regarding January 6th, which is more subjective?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it depends. You definitely have to tie Donald Trump to the actual statements. You have to show that he knew exactly how the fundraising was being done. That may be very easy to do, but you definitely have to connect him to the false statement. I have to say, I don't think that the insurrection case is frankly all that hard. I think if you look at just the amount of evidence and the various amounts of evidence, because there's so many components to the conspiracy, I do think that this is one where Jack has a lot of work to do, but I don't think putting the case together is something that people like Jack Smith are going to view as hard.
Thank you very much, Andrew Weissmann. I told you you're the perfect guest. See you.